So it's a beautiful fall day, and I finally made it back into the garden. You know, I've been a little distracted with Glow Hollow and all, and I looked and found all this beautiful bounty of chilies. So I want to share with you what chilies work in cool coastal climates. I'm Gardener Coo, and let's get into it. So my first chili is the Hungarian Wax pepper. So this one is great to fry up with a little bit of olive oil and some flaky sea salt. It's just beautiful. So you can start picking them when they're this pale yellow, and they go all the way to a red, and they get sweeter as they ripen. I should have given it a cage because it's a bit floppy, and it's totally eaten my next pepper, the Czech Black chili. So this one is just got a beautiful color. It's got this beautiful flavor. It's kind of smoky, and it's got the heat level similar to a jalapeno. But unlike a jalapeno, it looks really good in like a salsa. And then my last Eastern European is the Bulgarian carrot pepper. These are neon orange, and they have some heat. There's a lot of really fun hot sauces out on the market that you can buy made from them. And like the Czech black pepper, it stays pretty small, so I should have put them towards the front of the bed instead of back here, but you live, you learn. All right, so those last three peppers we were working with are Capsicum annuum, or those are the ones that you get most chilies in the market are from, like that's bell peppers, that's jalapenos. Now we're gonna take a swing to South America and do Capsicum baccatum, which are the Peruvian chilies and the Highland chilies. So right here, I have Aji Amarillo, two different types. I have Hot Lemon, which is from Burpees, and it's a refined Aji Amarillo chili. They tried to make the plant more stable, to have the fruit be more reliable, and honestly, they kind of failed. It's a floppy mess. I should have caged it. But next to it, I have Aji Amarillo Chinchi, which is from Southern Exposure Seed Savers, and look at how many golden beauties are already ripe. I love this one so much. The flavor is just like spicy and tropical, and it's just so wonderful. The Peruvians like to turn this into a paste that you can then use to make so many wonderful things. Love this one so much. And next to it, I have Aji Rico, which is this beautiful red one. This also should have been caged, but it is covered in fruit, and they are just so like tropical sweet, and they got kind of a medium spice level. They're really wonderful, like in a salsa or anywhere you'd use a chili. Love this one so much. All right, let's move on to a different Spanish-speaking pepper. Let's move on to Padron from Spain. This Padron pepper didn't really do a lot for me. I only got like 3 or 4 fruits on it. They are really good when you fry them up in a little olive oil, but I don't think I'm going to grow it again because it's big, it's floppy, and it didn't fruit. A lot of times with peppers, if they're not fruiting for you, it could be nighttime temperatures. Most peppers need 59 degrees for 2 nights in a row in order to set fruit. Tomatoes need 57 degrees, if you're wondering on that. So if you're not getting that nighttime temperature, they just won't set fruit unless you get specific varieties that are meant for cooler nights. I also, if you're giving them too much water, the plants can be too happy. Plants need to be a little stressed to fruit because that's their way of trying to survive. And after that, let's move back behind the tomato and see what we got going over here. Woo! And if you're wondering what the tomato is, this is Defiant from Johnny's, and it's late November, and it's doing great. All right, back here I have what looks like a beautiful Anaheim chili that is just covered in fruit. This Anaheim is called Highlander, and it is doing great. That is a lot of peppers. I'm going to be freezing a lot of them tonight, let me tell you. This one is floppy too, so always give it a cage. And honestly, I'm thrilled with it. And next to that, I have a Thai chili that has set a whole bunch of green fruits, but nothing red yet. So we'll give it time, and hopefully we'll get them before the winter knocks them down. All chilies are actually perennials, but some of them just don't like the cold and the wet, and they will die. Thai chilies tend to die in the wintertime, so does the Hungarian Wax. All the other ones have survived year to year for me. So out here in my auxiliary chili garden, I have Criolla Sella, a chili from Bolivia that's basically Aji Amarillo again. I didn't realize it when I bought it, but yeah, I love Aji Amarillo, so why not? It's a little behind the other ones, but that's because I planted this one about 2 months later. I totally lost the seed package, and I found it. It was just like, oh, I'm going to do this. I'm going to get it in this year. I'm doing it. So it should still ripen up, and I should still get some really nice chilies off of it. Behind me, I have my yellow Rocoto pepper from Peru. Now, this guy was 10 feet tall, but I had to chop it down from mushroom land because, you know, the head of the mushroom was being blocked by it. I got some really beautiful fruits off of it last year. They were giant yellow, they were habanero level spicy, and they were fruity, and they were great. But this year, I think I just didn't get enough summer heat at night, and it didn't set any fruit at all. So all I have is this beautiful, lush, useless chili. All right, so this Thai chili that's trying to get in my ear, we already talked about, so moving on. Next to it, I have a holdover from last year. This is Jalapeno Pot-a-Peño from Burpee Seeds. These are a cascading chili, which is really rare, and they just make really nice jalapenos. The one problem is they don't have any heat, so that's why I stopped growing it. This is just a perennial that just made it through the winter. Last year, I got like a bushel of these in March. Like, winter chilies should not be a thing. And I dried them all and turned them into paprika. But it's a really nice plant, and if you don't want the heat, go for this one. So for my last two chilies, I have for here a Mexican Highland chili called Xochiteco. This has these little red chilies that are a great substitute for bird's eye chilies. Sadly, too cool of a summer, so I didn't get any fruit this year. Some years I get a lot, some years I get nothing. Next to it, I have this beautiful manzanilla pepper, or it's also a red rocoto. These are hot, these are spicy, and they are very spicy, and they're also really fruity, and they have such a beautiful flavor. The plants get huge, as you can see, though. It's starting to eat my lime tree, which is somewhere in there. But like this one, I didn't get a lot of fruit because incredibly cold summer. All right, so here's a pepper that didn't work this year, but I'm going to give it another try next year. This one is called Notta Hotta. It was developed by Oregon State University to be a mild habanero that could survive in the Pacific Northwest conditions. I didn't get the seeds until like June, so of course it didn't do anything, but I'm still hopeful for next year. Scoville is how you determine how hot a chili is. So like a jalapeno is like 5,000 roughly Scoville, whereas a habanero can get to 350,000 on the high end. So if you ever want to know how hot your chilies are going to be before you eat them, that's how you can look it up and find out which ones you want to grow. If you're liking this video, please hit like and subscribe, and let me know what your favorite chilies are that might work in a cooler night zone area. So this is an experiment that I'm desperate to work. When I used to visit Nicaragua as a child, they would have these little green chilies that they would put in vinegar, and you add them to your food, and they were just pure fire. I loved them so much. So this is McMahon's bird chili. It's growing pretty nicely. I started it pretty late this year, but I'm really hopeful that I can overwinter it, and then next year I can get some of those beautiful chilies that I remember from my childhood. So while we're here, let's talk everything about chili care. So the first thing you want to do is you want to germinate the seeds really early in the year. So for the capsicum baccatums, I start those in January. For the capsicums and annuums, I start those in February. They're a little faster. And then chili seeds really take a long time to germinate. It can be up to 2 months. You can speed it up with a little bit of saltpeter or gunpowder. No, I don't know why. Maybe it's a little wife tale, but I've heard that actually really does help. And then you just want to grow them under grow lights and then pop them up slowly, and then even move them into windowsills. And then you can plant them out once the weather stabilizes and there's no more risk of frost. In the garden, you want to then put them in really rich soil, and you want to give them full sun. And you can get away with part shade in the hotter climates or even in my climate, but you do want to give them as much sun as possible because that's where they're going to get all the energy to produce those wonderful, wonderful fruits for you. For the larger varieties of plants, you definitely want to give them cages. I learned that this year, and that was a mistake. I knew that, but sometimes you don't follow your own advice. And then you're going to harvest them, and you want to dry them in a dark, dry spot if you're drying your chilies. I also like to just freeze them, so I cut them in half, I clean out the seeds, and then I freeze them, and then I have chilies year-round and never have to worry about going to the store and buying some. So chilies are pretty bulletproof once you get them going, but there are a few problems you can run into. If your plant isn't setting fruit, it could be the nighttime temperatures that I already talked about, or it could be you're overwatering your plant. This just cut back on the water, and then it'll think it's dying, and that'll freak it out, and it'll want to reproduce. So that's one way. It could also be a lack of calcium. Chilies need a lot of calcium in the soil. So if your flowers are just dropping off, or you're starting to get fruit that's like rotting from the tip up, that's probably a lack of calcium in the soil. You can buy lots of amendments for that, but a quick way to, if you're just desperate and need to fix it fast, Tums. Just stick Tums into the soil, and that'll add calcium immediately. They don't really have any bug problems, but if you're growing bell peppers, you do have to worry about rats. They love the bell peppers. So be sure to set some traps if you're having troubles with them eating your bell peppers, like I am. All right, it's time to move on to the sweet stuff. So, but the difference between a sweet pepper and a hot pepper is just basically a complete lack of capsaicin. All peppers usually ripen to red. if you find like a yellow or an orange bell pepper in the market, that means that they've had genes removed. So the yellow has had 2 sets of genes removed, the orange has had 1 set of genes removed. And that's just through natural plant breeding, not through genetic engineering. Science bit over. So in the front here, I have Mountaineer. I got this from Fruition Seeds before they went defunct. It is a great pepper. It's setting a lot of fruit and it's ripening really fast. I love it. Behind it, I have Taki's Ace. I will show you Ace in a minute. It's in the back. Taki's Ace is supposed to be an improvement on Ace, and I find it to be worse. It's a very congested plant. The fruits aren't as big, and they're not ripening very quickly. Next to it over here, I have King of the North. This is the OG for cool growing bell peppers. It's okay. It's not ripening very quickly, and the fruit shape is kind of a little weird to work with. It's not my favorite. All right, so this absolutely stunning plant here is actually 2 plants. These are 2 Biquinho peppers. That means beak in Portuguese, and they're from Brazil. So this one on this side is a yellow one, and the one on this side is a red one. I didn't know if these would work, but I got them for Christmas last year and put them on our charcuterie board, and they were so good. So you just want to pick them when they're ripe, which is when they're yellow or red. And then you just want to do a quick pickle in sweetened rice wine vinegar, and they're just so good. With a little bit of brie on a cracker, it's just that hint of acidity, the hint of sweetness, and just a little hint of spice. Oh, so good. Love it. Okay, so on to my last bell pepper, and my favorite bell pepper. It's this one here. It's called Ace. Now, I should have caged it. Yes, I know. I should have caged most of my peppers. You live, you learn. But it has really nice fruit. It sets them really early. They have nice walls. The flavor's good, and they actually ripen pretty quickly as well. I really like Ace a lot. I did overwinter it from last year on this one, but this one, it didn't do as well. So I think on Ace, you should start from seed every year. Some peppers overwinter really well and some don't. I don't really know what's going on there. But let me show you next how to overwinter a pepper. I don't have to do this for a lot of my chilies, but there are some that don't make it over the winter, like my Hungarian Wax or my Thai chilies. So what you want to do is you want to cut them on the stem about 6 inches above the soil line and just cut it all off. You don't need any leaves. Now, if you're in a climate like mine that only flirts with frost, you can get these gardening cloches in the springtime. No, I don't know why they sell them in the springtime at the dollar store, and these work really well. You do want to make sure you stake it down and you just place it over the stem and you're good to go for wintertime. Now, if you get actually really cold, you want to just dig up the plant and then just store it in your garage. Do make sure it doesn't dry out. So here's today's harvest. I still have a lot of chilies out left in the garden, but those will ripen up in January and February, and I can have my, winter chili harvest. But what we have here is we've got Mountaineer, we have Taki's Ace, we have the big ones, which are Ace, and then in the back we have King of the North. Those are the bells. Then we move over to the Hungarian Wax pepper. We have the Anaheim called Pathfinder. We have these beautiful Aji Ricos. We have Padron. We have the Manzanilla Rocoto pepper. We have the Bulgarian Carrot pepper, the Czech Black, some jalapenos, of course, Pot-a-Peño, and this beautiful sea of orange Aji Amarillo Chinchi. Don't let anyone ever tell you you can't grow chilies in the fog. They do amazing. I'm Gardener Coo. Go out there and get spicy.